It's Friday, September 9. In the headlines, country to commence a period of mourning at the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. Gun amnesty to be announced once new act is enforced. Regionally, St. Vincent's minister outlines plans for cost of food. And in sports, Shelly-Ann grabs her 5th Diamond League 100-meter title. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Brittany Clark. The Jamaican government has announced that with immediate effect, all flags on public buildings should be flown at half-mast to mark the commencement of a period of mourning being declared from September 8 to September 19, 2022. A press release from the Office of the Prime Minister further stated that a day of mourning will be observed on September 18, 2022. During the period of mourning, it is customary recommendation that no celebratory activities should take place and only authorized activities related to the day are approved. All social events should be postponed. Condolence books will be established in the offices of the custodies in all parishes. Members of the public will be invited to sign the books from September 13 to September 19, 2022. On Saturday, September 10, to mark the proclamation of the new monarch, all flags should be fully hoisted between the hours of 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. The Jamaica Defense Force will deliver a 21-gun salute at 11 a.m. Governor General of Jamaica, Sir Patrick Allen, has extended condolences to the royal family and the people of the United Kingdom at the passing of Britain's Queen Elizabeth II. In a press release issued by the office, Sir Allen stated, and I quote, "We admire Her Majesty for the strong sense of duty and lifelong devotion to the service of others. She is widely acknowledged for her exemplary leadership, dignity, humility, and generosity. These qualities have characterized her reign even in the modern times and have impacted the Commonwealth immensely. Even through her declining years and ill health, she battled valiantly to the end." End quote. Meanwhile, Secretary General of the Commonwealth of Nations, Baroness Patricia Scotland, has paid tribute to the late Queen Elizabeth II. She described the Queen as an extraordinary person who lived an extraordinary life. Baroness Scotland noted that through her 7-decade-long reign, which involved extraordinary change and challenge, the Queen was the epitome of duty, stability, wisdom, and grace. She says that before ascending to the throne, the Queen promised to dedicate her life to the service of the Commonwealth, and she honored that promise. Baroness Scotland says the Commonwealth and the world would miss her greatly. A gun amnesty will be declared as soon as the new Firearms Prohibition, Restriction and Regulation Act is entered into force. So says Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang.
I wish to advise this Honourable House as soon as this bill is entered into force, it is my intention to utilize the provision to establish a gun amnesty to get rid of the illegal weapons off the streets for those who are not inclined to have them for criminal use. This alongside a robust public education program and expansion of the Get the Guns program, because this administration will not relent. We must rid our country of illegal firearms and ammunition. Those who do not heed will feel the full force of this new legislation, the strict and stringent penalty regime to be in effect.
He says the Firearms Prohibition, Restriction and Regulation Act of 2022 is intended to stem criminal violence in the country. The minister explained that Clause 19 of the bill gives the power to the minister to declare a firearms amnesty by order subject to affirmative resolution. He acknowledged that Jamaica has the highest homicide rates in the region and sits in the top 5 countries in the last 20 years.
Jamaica is part of the most violent region on the planet, with roughly 75% of murders in this region being firearm-related. At the national level, crime statistics show that last year, 2021, 85% of total murders and 80% of all robberies involved the use of a firearm.
He says that ill-gotten gains from lottery scamming is being used to purchase guns for protection and to build out gangs. Minister Chang says it's not surprising that security forces report a steady rate of illegal firearms over the years.
Since 2018, the security forces have taken more than 3,200 illegal firearms and in excess of 53,000 rounds of ammunition from our streets. In fact, the security forces have seized upwards of 625 firearms annually And based on the firearms seized so far this year, they are well on course to surpass the 703 firearms that were seized in 2021. As the police become more effective at intercepting the killers, however, we find that they are changing their tactics and in fact are becoming far more brutal. And we'll see from the statistics that while we have seen a reduction in the number of shootings, there's actually an increase in homicides, because they have adopted practices such as drive-by shooting at crowds, and while they're seeking a single victim, they have 3, 4, 5 people who are hurt, literally as collateral damage to criminal activity.
The minister also informed that under the new legislation, the Firearm Licensing Authority, FLA, will be established as a body corporate.
As a body corporate, the authority will have its own legal identity and will now be empowered to perform several activities to include entering into contracts in its own name, initiating and responding to legal claims, acquiring real and personal property, and using its own official seal. The lack of a legal status of the FLA has presented a number of challenges for members of the Board of Directors and the Chief Executive Officer, who are often required to respond to legal claims and appeals with respect to firearm authorization in their individual capacities. The authority is also challenged in effectively carrying out its daily business operations. Some new functions have been added to the responsibilities of the authority to include A, establishing and maintaining a register of approved brokers and their activities, since broking has now been introduced as an activity. B, causing in accordance with this act the marking of firearms. C, conducting ballistic testing, capturing ballistic signatures in the relation to privately owned firearms, and capturing related information with respect to firearms that are subject of authorization granted by the board. That means all legal firearms will have the ballistic signature on the Agency of the Firearms Licensing Authority and the registry.
Minister Chang was speaking during the sitting of the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Consumers across Caricom are still feeling the pinch from telecommunication roaming charges. This despite an agreement signed earlier this year between the two Caribbean leading communications providers, Digicel and Cable & Wireless. Caricom Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett says it is a legacy issue.
We have the unfortunate reality in that our telecommunications infrastructure in the region, which controls the internet services, are legacy systems from the same European owners who are now dropping the charges among each other in Europe. But when we get around the table with the subsidiaries in the region, it is really very difficult.
The St. George's Declaration on Roaming is aimed at reducing intra-Caricom roaming charges. Dr. Barnett revealed that some progress has been made, with the providers agreeing among themselves to reduce charges.
The objective is to eliminate totally. But as I say, the owners of those telecommunications companies are in each of our member states, and they negotiate with each of our member states their arrangements differently with each of our member states. The solution to all that is likely to be a single regulatory mechanism that would determine that across the region. That's a complexity yet to be negotiated.
She says the current structure is an untidy one. Dr. Barnett was speaking during the Owen Arthur Memorial Lecture Series held at the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill. Time now for the business report from Danita Rodney.
After recording its best financial year on record from its 6 locations across Jamaica, Fontana Limited is looking to possibly add an additional 2 locations in the country as the retail and pharmaceutical outfit gears up for its opening of its Portmore location in 2023. Fontana reported a 23% revenue climb as the company benefited from the Christmas rush and removal of COVID-19 restrictions at the start of its 4th quarter. For your market updates, in foreign exchange trading for Thursday, September 8th, the US dollar sold for an average of $152.75. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $116.52. The pound sterling traded for $176.18, and the euro sold for an average of $154.42. In JSE trading, the JSE index advanced by 1,117 points to close at over 300,000 units. The junior market index declined by 75 points to close at over 4,000 units. The combined market index advanced by 354 points to close at over 300,000 units. And the All Jamaican Composite Index advanced by 2,591 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 99 stocks, of which 44 advanced, 40 declined, and 15 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Verbal Preference, and Barita Investments Limited. Stocks declined for 1834 Investments Limited, Access Financial Services Limited, and Berger Paints Jamaica Limited. Trading firm were AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, EPLI 7.50% preference shares due 2024, and First Rock Real Estate Investments Limited. The overall volume leaders were One-on-One Educational Services Limited with over 11 million units, Wigton Windfarm Limited Ordinary Shares with over 8 million units, and MFS Capital Partners Limited with over 3 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, Plico Investment Fund was the only active security posting a volume of over 5,000 shares. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Government of Barbados Bond Series B was the volume leader with over 5,000 shares. They were followed by One Caribbean Media Limited with trading 625 shares. In market data for oil rose supported by real and threatened cuts to supply, although crude was set for a second weekly decline as aggressive interest rate hikes and China's COVID-19 curbs weighed on demand outlook. Brent crude rose $1.36 to $90.51 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate crude climbed $1.55 to $85.09. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
Regional news. The United States Agency for International Development has launched a field office in Trinidad and Tobago that will help the country come to terms with and in some cases combat national issues.
As Trinidad and Tobago struggles to cope with a changing world, from a changing climate to an oncoming food crisis, the United States Agency for International Development is setting up a field office in Port of Spain, a city dealing with a slew of issues. The U.S. Chargé d'Affaires, along with the USAID's Eastern and Southern Caribbean regional representative, sat down with us on Wednesday.
Any projects that we implement in Trinidad and Tobago can be modeled and replicated throughout the Caribbean and other parts of the world.
Regional Representative Clinton White agrees that Port of Spain could be a project that changes how the region operates.
But we also see Trinidad and Tobago as a model for the Caribbean in areas around energy or areas around climate change. And so by working here and doing certain things and having regional programs that are impacting this particular region around climate change, it really helps us to better understand, what are those key priorities.
Part of the USAID's strategic goal between 2020 and 2025 includes financial sustainability, resilience, and citizen security.
We want to ensure that there's a more prosperous and resilient Caribbean. And so having this satellite office here in Trinidad and Tobago helps us to align those priorities and those goals with the priorities and goals of Trinidad and Tobago.
As Trinidad and Tobago braces for the effects of an uncertain future, the USAID's field office hopes to lend a hand.
With the ongoing issue of rising food prices in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Minister of Agriculture Sabato Caesar outlined some plans that the minister intends to roll out to address the issue.
Whereby persons can access affordable food within the country, and we have to continue to work with the farmers and the different persons who sell food in the country. In short, during this period of what is considered to be imported inflation, we have to do our best to support local producers. And we're going to roll out a program within the Ministry of Agriculture to make food more affordable, accessible, and available to the population. Already we have identified Lakwa and established it as a food terminal market. We have identified Larders and Lanley Park. And we are working over the next few days to do some assessments for redesigning of the Belmont Food Depot. And currently, we have on the leeward side of the country a system where we're purchasing food at Rosebank. So right now we have 4 facilities that will continue to buy food for the rest of the year to provide a market to the farmers and also to provide food to be redistributed to vulnerable communities.
In St. Kitts and Nevis, the Minister of Tourism, Marsha Henderson, is calling for greater collaboration between all stakeholders in the tourism industry to enhance the visitor experience.
There will be emphasis on generating increased passenger spend, said Marsha Henderson, Minister of Tourism, as she called for greater collaboration between all stakeholders in the tourism industry. Speaking at her first tourism press conference, Minister Henderson said St. Kitts is in a good position to take advantage of the rebound in tourism and travel, with visitors now wanting to experience authentic cultural destination experiences. According to Henderson, who is also the minister with responsibility for air and seaports, increasing visitor spend and addressing an urgent situation at the RLB International Airport are immediate concerns.
Focus on growth in the expenditure of our visitors leading to increased economic activity will be paramount as we move forward. Guests are looking for memories in more than just physical items. They want authentic encounters with the island that tell the Kittitian story and reflect our spirit as a people and our history and culture, leading to a more enriched experience with our destination. I must reiterate the need for us to be innovative and creative while at the same time maintaining our high standards. Investment in our existing infrastructure is a critical element as well of our strategy. The St. Christopher Air and Seaports Authority has advised that important upgrades will be made to the air and seaports. At the Robert Llewellyn Bratcher Airport, the larger aircrafts are parking on the more western end of the apron. This has resulted in a less than welcoming experience for our air passengers. As Minister, I have taken note of this situation, and we're moving expeditiously to have the apron repaired. SCASPA has also advised that tender documents are currently being prepared to obtain quotes to resurface the apron. In addition, efforts are underway to improve the experience at the airport by making both the air conditioning units and escalators operational by the end of this month.
Henderson said every effort must be made to offer our visitors safe and refreshed experiences, and she warned against complacency and mediocrity.
There's a view that Barbados needs a cultural shift in the way it views sexual crimes, particularly those involving children. It's coming from clinical psychologist and assistant lecturer at the UWI Cave Hill, Dr. Catherine Trotman, who is worried about the incident of child abuse.
We have to move away from this idea that we need to protect abusers, because this is something that happens constantly. Well, my darling would never do this. He's a good man, he would never do that. We automatically don't believe the victim. There were strong associations between these traumatic events and poor physical and mental health. So I'm not just talking about depression, anxiety, but I'm talking about picking up habits, for example, and addictions. I'm talking about mental health disorders, but I'm also talking about physical health disorders.
In international news, world leaders have been paying tribute to Queen Elizabeth. U.S. President Joe Biden has hailed Queen Elizabeth II as a steadying presence in a world of change.
The U.S. President paid tribute to Queen Elizabeth II at the British Embassy in Washington, and then during a political event.
I had the opportunity to meet her before she passed, and she was an incredibly gracious and decent woman. And the thoughts and prayers of the American people are with the people of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth in their grief.
Biden's remarks honored the special relationship between a monarchy and its one-time colony, ties rooted in cooperation during 2 world wars. In all, Queen Elizabeth hosted or visited 13 of the 14 post-war presidents. These weren't gatherings to plan global economic or security agendas. As head of state, the Queen was barred from making policy. These were opportunities to reaffirm the U.S. and U.K.'s commitment to democracy, civility, and human dignity. Former U.S. presidents, including Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and Donald Trump, issued condolence statements. And ordinary citizens paid their respects at the embassy, including some who shared the Queen's affection for corgis.
She also helped bring the idea of dogs into the home and showed that dogs are not just animals that belong on farms, but also they can belong in a royal palace and be part of a family.
I was lucky enough to see her in 3 carriage rides. So even though it wasn't someone who was present in my life, it's still very upsetting to know that they're gone. But, I think she'd want us to spread the love that she spread to her people. So that's, why I'm up here.
As the flags at the Capitol and the White House were lowered to half staff, the bells rang 96 times at the Washington National Cathedral, part of the global Anglican Communion. A tribute to the woman who was both head of the Universal Church and a beloved grandmother figure to so many in the U.S. Rosalind Jordan, Al Jazeera.
In sports, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has bagged her 5th Diamond League 100-meter title. Fraser-Pryce clocked 10.65 seconds in the finals on Thursday to equal the meet record. Clocking 10.81 was fellow Jamaican and world 200-meter champion Shericka Jackson. After being concerned after experiencing hamstring discomfort, which saw her pull out of the Lausanne Diamond League meet last month, Fraser-Pryce said she's proud of the consistency she has shown this season. Her Diamond League title brings to a close a season in which she posted sub-11 second time in every race she competed in this year, including the 10.67 championship record she posted 2 months ago at the World Championships. Fraser-Pryce said that the atmosphere in Zurich was a fitting setting for the 2022 season finale. Barbados Royals are on a 4-game winning streak in the 2022 Hero CPL, who added 28 not out, put on 79 for the 6th wicket. Hayden Walsh took 2 for 19 for Royals. We have highlights from that inning. In reply, the Royals posted 175 for 4 off 18.3 overs to win by 6 wickets, while the Kings are still 5th on 2 points. The Jamaica Tallowers are sitting comfortably at number 2 on 4 points. No matches are scheduled for today, Friday, in the CPL. The next match will commence on Saturday at 9 a.m. Jamaica time, with the Knight Riders going head-to-head with the Jamaica Tallowers. 6 p.m. we will see the St. Lucia Kings versus the Guyana Amazon Warriors. On Sunday, the 2 top teams, Barbados Royals and Jamaica Tallowers, will do battle at 9 a.m. Test cricket is something people still want to watch. This was the position of legendary cricketer Sir Clive Lloyd. He says not all cricketers want to play the shorter version, but want to spend more time on the field.
It was great to watch Test cricket the other day at Old Trafford. We had 20,000 people per day, and it's obvious that Test cricket is still alive. I'm just wondering, what is the thinking of the ICC? I mean, this is the highest form of cricket you can play. And I'm sure that a lot of people would like to know, when they retire, what they've done in a test match, not in a 2020 game. As I've said before, that T20 is an exhibition and test cricket is an examination. And the point is that we need to keep that.
While noting that the shorter versions are giving cricketers a good living, he says not everyone is sold on it. He further questioned the T10 matches.
I would like to know, how do you pick a team for 10-10 competition? You know, how do you go about, you know, sort of gathering a team? The 2 openers, 2 middle orders, and, you know, a wicket keeper, and, you know, the rest of bowlers. I don't know. So I find it very strange, but it's obvious that people are happy with they want to see the shorter game, but the real, you know, cricketers want to see a contest.
Sir Clive is adamant that a major problem with Team West Indies is not having the guys sign a contract in order to keep our players.
We have 5 million people in different walks of life, so it's a small cadre of people that we have playing sport, playing different sport, and cricket is just a part of that. And if we groom 25 players, you know, get them to the standard, the test match standard or first class standard, and then you lose 10 of them to these small white ball games, it's going to be very difficult to replace them. It takes you 3 years to be a test cricketer. So it's like we're digging a hole to fill a hole sort of thing. And we don't have the people. How do you pick a team? You pick a team now, and then the next tour, you don't know if you'll have 5 or 6 of them. Pakistan, 250 million. Australia, 200 million. India, 1 billion people. New Zealand is probably the only place that has as much, you know, the same amount of people as we have.
Yeah.
But they have a good system. Their players sign a contract, and they sign a contract for 5 years. So they can play in the one-day stuff, but whenever they have cricket at home, they go back and play.
Sir Clive Lloyd was speaking on the recently aired episode of Line and Length with host Andrew Seeley. That's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful weekend.